This is a track mode. Good morning, YouTube. So today, Sandisk debuts their new 400 gigabyte micro SD card. For those people in the Raspberry Pi community, that is a lot of data. I mean, it was only 2 years ago that the 200 gigabyte SD card came out by Sandisk. So it took them 2 years to double this. I mean, I have the 200 right here. As you can see, look at that. This is a 1 terabyte. This is 1/5 of this data, but it's only like 1/100th or 1,000th or even probably more than that of the size. And they crammed 400 gigabytes on one of these. It's going to be an Ultra, so the speed's going to be great. Good write speeds, good read speeds. And I'm thinking the number one application, though, as far as how these things are going to sell, is going to be for people with a MacBook Air or a MacBook. Because Macintosh, they just, or I guess Apple, they tend to, really screw you over on the data and the space. And because it's way cheaper to buy an aftermarket data than it is to buy the space through Apple, I think you're going to see a ton of these sold with Mac. Especially, I don't know if any of you guys have seen this before, but they make this adapter that sits flush in the Apple product. Yeah, they make little devices like this that make it so the SD card doesn't pop out at all. They make some that are just pop out a little bit. They also make some that don't pop out at all, like that. You know, you can put the micro SD in. So I think this little gadget is going to get the majority of the sales. But for those of us in the Raspberry Pi community, that means a 400 gigabyte image. That means you can make a file server out of your Raspberry Pi. I mean, the sky is the limits. That is a big, big, big SD card. But it comes at a price. $250. For 200, it's around $120 to get a 128 gigabyte SD card and a Cana kit and a couple of retro controllers. So to set up, you can set up 2 gaming systems, or you can set up 1. You can actually set up 3 by the time you buy, because you still gotta buy the Cana kit on the 400 gigabyte micro SD. So you're talking almost 328 gigabyte setups right now. But this is what the reason I'm making this video is not really. This is cool, 400 gigabytes, cool. I love technology. I love when the speed and the data get cheaper and faster. Awesome, love it. Good work, Sandisk. Keep innovating. But what really I'm excited about is price drops. That when this comes out, all of the other sizes below it should start slowly falling in price. This is going to be awesome, especially because I'm still a 128 gig myself, 128 gig guy myself. So really quickly, I did want to go through kind of SD cards right now, especially if you're in the Pi community. Don't go cheap. Get the Ultra. If you're going Sandisk, get the Ultra. If you're going PNY, get the Elite. Do not get, if you're going Samsung, get at least the Evo. Don't go with the Select. Go with the Evo or the Pro. Pro's a little overkill. But don't cheap out on these SD cards. The read and write speeds do matter, especially when you're using them as your hard drive. So do not cheap out on them there. What brands did I choose? So I went ahead and I scoured Amazon for today's prices. I'm going to go ahead and put links in the description below of the cheapest prices I found per micro SD card size. So here is the spreadsheet I did today. The Amazon cards are these cards here, the white and grays. Those are made for the Fire tablets. They work just as well as the black and red ones that you've all seen before, or black and red and gray, I'm sorry, that you've seen before. These are basically the same as these, and those are the ones that I found cheapest for these sizes, for the 16 gig, 32 gig, and 64 gig. I then took the exact price and then I divided it by cost, by space, so you actually can see what are you paying for per gigabyte, because this is what you should be looking at, which is the bang for your dollar, like how much space you can get for the price. And I have to say that for me, it's still the 128. If you're only doing one image, get the 128. It's worth it. Now, as far as the 64, yeah, you can get 2 for that price. But I mean, I don't know about you, but it's worth the convenience to just have it all on one thing. When you start getting up into these higher ranges here, I mean, you really got to think about what you want. You're not getting double your space here. And, you lose a couple gigs on the, just on the fact that when they make them, there's a little bit of discrepancy. So the actual cost per gigabyte, as you see, is cheapest at the 128. It then goes to the 64, to the 200, and then to the 32. But you also have to consider the capital investment. $15 is a lot different than $80. Especially when you're talking the Raspberry Pi is so cheap. A can of kit is about $50. So you definitely have to keep that in mind. But I thought I'd make this for you to help you with your decisions. If it was me and money wasn't an object, I might just go for the 256. I'm not gonna buy the 400. I'm telling you right now, I'm not gonna buy the 400. If Sandisk wants to give me a free one, I will take it. I will write a review. I will probably sell it and get a couple 200 gigs. But it's really cool. I think when you start getting into 400 gig, you're going to be looking at people who want to use external hard drives to store their ROMs or store their space, things like that, because that at that point is more competitive. These little 1 terabyte drives, I can get them sometimes as cheap as $50, $60. So yes, it's a spinning drive. It's not flash memory, but you can get 500 gigabyte M2 slot flash hard drives that run at super fast speeds for half this price as well. So you got to consider your pros and cons and everything. What do you think? What do you think this does for the industry? Are you going to buy one? Why? What are you going to put on it? That's what I really want to know. What are you guys going to be putting on this thing? I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.